So this is the Amazon Basin rainforest here in the country of Suriname in northern South America. And it's here in this country, in these particular woods, that the northern emerald tree boa is actually relatively common. And that's why we came to this particular place, because it's here that we have the best shot of finding a northern emerald tree boa. So get ready for an epic adventure as I spend 10 days out here in the wilderness, living off the land with a great group of local hunters and learning as much as we can about what the northern emerald tree boa is doing out here in the wild, what its habitat is like, what the temperature and humidity is here in the forest where the emerald tree boas live. And hopefully in this video we're gonna fill in some of the gaps of some really misunderstood information about the amazing emerald tree boas and how it's living out here in the wilds of Suriname, so that we better know how to care for them in our homes. I'm Dave Kaufman and these are my Reptile Adventures. So unfortunately, I'm here in March of 2024, and if you remember March of 2024, it's an El Nino year, which means that the northern hemisphere is getting warmer than usual winters, but down here in the Amazon, they're actually having a really bad drought. This is supposed to be the rainy season. It is supposed to be raining from morning until the next morning, until the next morning. It has rained once since we have been here. And if you look around this forest, this habitat of the emerald tree boa, it is surprisingly and shockingly dry. So everything is going to be hunkered down. It is going to be very difficult for us to find an emerald tree boa out here, but we're not going to find them out here during the heat of the day. Emerald tree boas are primarily nocturnal. And so our method for finding emerald tree boas out here in Suriname is you wait for nightfall, you get on the boat, on the river, and you start shining the trees. And now it's a new moon, and these are the perfect conditions for going out and finding the emeralds. We load up this here boat. Bob, will you demonstrate loading up this here boat?
Yep, loading up this here boat. Ooh, like that.
A little bit more graceful. Amy, do you want to?
That was graceful, Dave. You don't understand what graceful is.
Bob, I assure you, yeah. I shall not be as graceful.
Okay.
All right. Permission to come aboard, Captain Pansofsky.
Permission granted.
Ah, thank you, good sir. All right, once on board, we put the snacks right there. And so we're gonna take this boat and we're gonna cruise the shoreline, both on the Guyana side and the Suriname side. And we're gonna look for emeralds up in the trees. But a lot of people think that they're way up in the canopy and you can't see them. They are up there. But most of them are gonna be between 10 feet and 30 feet off the ground. And that's where we're gonna look. And the method is that you don't actually shine your light and look for the snake. You look for the eye shine. All right, we think we've got an emerald way up in the tree of there. All right, here we go. Here we go. Way up in those trees, we've got an emerald.
100% sure.
60% sure?
Nope. No, 100% sure.
100%. And there goes Mark, our illustrious guide, to climb the cliff to get the emerald.
Sorry. You see it?
No.
Well, I'm not gonna show you guys. You gotta fight.
Okay.
Mark is one of the best hunters here in Suriname. Well, there he is. Okay, so.
Okay, what stick do you want?
I would like to have the medium one.
Okay, medium stick. Okay.
That's the one.
Is this the one?
Oh, I see him.
Can you?
Yes. You sweet little thing. We love you. We love you.
So the procedure from here is that he has these specially made sticks with a fork on the end of them, and he sticks those forks right through the branches, and then the snake comes on the fork. And it's that simple. That's how to catch emerald tree boas here in Suriname.
Oh,
nicely done! Woo!
It's a nice one. Look at the size.
Wow.
Oh.
Oh my goodness.
Amy,
Boy.
that rules. So we've been out here for what, 4 or 5 days looking for this particular snake. And finally, we have the Emerald's tree boa. This is my lifer, Emerald. Whoa!
It's okay. We're okay.
Come on, sweetheart. Come on.
It's very nice.
Look at this snake.
Hello, sweetheart. Hello.
So we've been out here for 4 or 5 nights until like yesterday, until like almost 6 in the morning, looking for our first emerald tree boa, and we finally got him.
And he loves me.
Yeah, he loves you.
Yes, he loves me so much.
Wow.
Yeah, that is fantastic.
Wow.
Woo! And this is my lifer. This is the first one I've seen in the wild.
And he's a nice one.
Yeah.
Nice.
Snapping a little bit, you know,
Barely.
but certainly.
Can you see that iridescent blue in there?
Yeah.
He's gorgeous. Everybody says you're super mean and you're not. No, you're a sweetie. Yes, you are.
Oh, that is just perfectly beautiful.
Well, Dave,
Yes.
when I told you I can guarantee an emerald, I was a little afraid after I said the words because I didn't want to jinx anything. But here we are.
Here we are, and we got it. Amy Benzie has delivered.
Mark de Klerk really is the way.
So beauty.
That
I'm
is
gonna try to shoot something like that.
just fantastic. Woo! Mark, you are one hell of a guy.
Yep.
Just doing my thing. This is my element.
This is your
Yes,
element,
yes.
and you are thriving in your element. This is amazing.
Oh, there's a pocket in there.
Rainbow Mealworms is not only a proud sponsor of this channel, they are the premier source for all your reptile food needs. They grow all of their quality insects in-house, and I use them exclusively for all my insect-eating reptiles. So place your order today at rainbowmealworms.net or click the link in the description below. So we're not quite finished looking for emeralds out in the wild, but baby emeralds are incredibly difficult to spot in the wild. So we're in a little village right on the Suriname-Guyana border right now. And one of the people that lives in this village just told us that they've got a little baby emerald that we can take a look at.
Oh, you sweet little thing.
Oh, look at this. So he has them in this little makeshift enclosure that he built for him here. Oh wow, we have to take him out and take a better look. So have a look at this baby emerald tree boa. These guys are so adorable when they're babies, and sometimes they're born red like this, sometimes yellow, sometimes green, and they will retain this juvenile color for what, about 6 to 9 months? And you can just start to see that this guy is starting to get little flecks of green. But I often wonder why emerald tree boas, and green tree pythons for that matter, are born either yellow or red or a different color than green, because wouldn't you think that green would make these guys blend in more with their surroundings and protect them when they're babies? And I've got a theory on this, and comment below if you agree or disagree with this. My theory is that they're born red or yellow because they will sit up in the trees and they might look like a piece of fruit to their main prey item, which is rats. And those rats will come up thinking it's a nice piece of juicy fruit, and then that nice piece of juicy fruit strikes back. But on the other hand, baby emerald tree boas are eating primarily lizards and frogs. They will eat rodents, so there's a little kind of dent in the armor of that theory. But let me know in the comments below, why do you think emerald tree boas, and green tree pythons for that matter, are born a color that makes them stand out in nature instead of blend in? Comment below with your theories on that.
Well, I would like to add that this little guy snapped at us for about 20 minutes, the first 10 minutes almost non-stop. But it didn't take very long at all for him to realize that we weren't dangerous, we weren't predators. We never grabbed his head, we just treated him very gently and gave him a lot of love, and he treated us back just like we treated him.
This, again, is what emerald tree boas look like as babies. All right, let's get back out in the wild.
All right, let's go.
So on the topic of proper captive husbandry for your emeralds, I mentioned earlier that I'm here with Amy Benzie from Happy Basins. Well, we're gonna go sit on a log over there, and we're gonna have a discussion over the proper captive care and husbandry of emerald tree boas. Not only the northerns, but the basins as well. Amy, you have been working with these guys for a long time. You've been coming to Suriname for a long time to see how these guys are living in the wild, but your care in your house is next level. And the care that you give these snakes and the enclosures that you built are amazing.
Thank you.
So when it comes to proper husbandry in our homes for these amazing snakes, talk a little bit about caging.
When I first got my emeralds, I really wanted to know what their natural environment looked like. So I started searching for them in the wild. And the most important thing that I really like to stress is that these animals live on vine systems, not a single branch.
Right.
They spend a lot of time traveling through vine systems, hunting, and even when you see them just at rest, they'll be spread out with their bodies coiled on different levels.
Well, as we're looking for these out here, like the sparse vegetation, we're just bypassing.
Right.
So we see the trees with huge vines draped over them, very jungle looking. And it's in those scenarios with those big, huge, tall vines that stretch all the way from the ground, all the way to the canopy. That's where we're finding these guys.
Yes, everybody said that these animals are not handleable. They're display snakes. They're not the kind of animal that you can hold and love. And I have found the complete opposite to be true.
I mean, look at this. This is a wild emerald tree boa. This is not a snake that is snapping. It's not a snake that's trying to bite us. And that is all in how you handle these snakes. But if you hold them just like this and show that you are not a threat, you are not a predator, these snakes can be so gentle and so placid and so curious as to their surroundings. This snake is right next to my face. There is no snapping, there is no carrying on. We have long, methodical tongue flicks, which tells me that this snake is at ease and just very curious as to what's going on right now. It's all in how you treat the snake and how you handle the snake. Snakes in and of themselves are very misunderstood. This particular species, extremely misunderstood. So this is the Amazon basin here in South America, and therefore it is really hot and really humid here. And so hydration for emerald tree boas in your homes is extremely important. How do you deal with that in your enclosures at home?
Well, we do have the typical thing that folks have, which are the misting systems. And we have not only the misting system, but we have a full rain system in every single one of our enclosures. And before we had that awesome system, we had a rain chamber. And before the rain chamber, what I would do is I would put an artificial tree into the shower and just let my animals slither around on the tree with the shower running on them. And if you notice something that they love, give them more of it.
Well, Amy, your knowledge of these snakes and your passion for these snakes is really contagious. Now, one of the things about emerald tree boas is that they have the biggest teeth of any non-venomous snake in the world. And it's long thought that they have those huge teeth because they eat birds exclusively. And there's a lot of dramatic speculation about these snakes sitting on a branch up in the canopy and a bird flies by and they just snatch that bird out of the air, and they have those huge long teeth to get through all of those feathers into the meat of the bird and procure their meal. But is that actually true? So this is Mark and Tony, two of the greatest hunters in Suriname, but you've been hunting out here for years and years and years, and now you are hunters turned conservationists.
Conservationists.
And so you basically know pretty much everything there is to know about what emerald tree boas are doing out here. And a lot of people think that the emerald tree boas live really high up in the canopy and no one ever sees them, and that's not true, is it?
They live very low, lower than you may expect. Sometimes they are just above the water, and maybe just for in our whole life we have just seen once, we have seen one of them very high up, really high. We couldn't get it, but the majority, about 90%, is from water level to about 10 feet.
To about 10 feet?
To about 10 feet, yes.
So 10 feet is roughly a little over 3 meters, right? So they are not canopy dwellers. I mean, they will go up there, obviously, but they prefer to be down low. And the reason why they're found lower is because of what they're actually eating out here. Everybody has this vision of them sitting in the canopy, waiting for an unsuspecting bird to come by. That does happen. But their primary diet out here are the arboreal rats.
Yes, I want to believe that. And they do eat birds and bats, some lizards like iguana, but I think it's primarily rats. And I believe that they don't really go hunting much for the rats, but they mostly, I would say, lie in wait. They're ambush hunters, because the rat would move during the night, and a rat would move about approximately 100 feet around, or maybe 100 meters around. And if the snake is here, I believe the rat would accidentally bump into the snake and not the snake going after the rat.
So emerald tree boas are in fact eating these arboreal rats out here, and it makes up a big part of their diet. The majority of their diet are these rats. Well, last night we were able to get one of these rats, and I'm going to ask Amy Benzie to explain to us why emerald tree boas have such big teeth for the prey that they eat.
All right, guys, so the biggest question that I get from everybody, besides temperature and humidity, is what are these snakes eating? Everybody says they have huge teeth so that the teeth can go through the bird feathers. Sure, I'm sure they do that. But from my folks that I know who know these snakes in the wild, the main food source of these animals is this arboreal rat. This guy looks pretty bad. We did get him here at camp. But what I want to show you guys, which I was told by Igor, thank you, Igor, is that these rats have very coarse hair. It's not like a porcupine or anything, but it kind of feels more like a German Shepherd. But there are some like hedgehog type of feelings in here. But the biggest point that I want to make that Igor talks about is that the skin is very tender. So if the snake does not bite through the fur, through the skin, and hold on to the rat, then it may be the case that the skin just rips right off the rat. Look at that, just like Igor said, super tender. The skin just rips right off. So if their teeth are not going through the skin into the meat, then the skin will just come off and the snake will lose its meal.
This is the primary diet of emerald tree boas out here in the wild.
Indeed, they must come down where the action is.
That's right.
Yeah, you know, where the food, because we follow the food. That's life, right? We follow the food. And it's true, sometimes birds, small birds, they encounter nests with young birds, and that's an easy prey.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
but the emerald chasing,
Going after.
He's too slow.
I love your scientific approach to that.
Talking about their fang or teeth,
Yeah.
the teeth of the bottom jaw, those two in front, and I think that's why the name is Corallus caninus, canine. Caninus is canine. It's because those two front teeth at the bottom, on the bottom jaw, they're extra long and they have like a little barb coming back. And when it takes the prey, the bottom jaws comes out a little bit farther, grabble, and then pulls in like this. That is to go into the muscle, to grab into the muscle itself too.
So remember that cute little emerald tree boa that we found back in Apora in that little town? Well, Bob bought that snake with the intent to bring him out here into the rainforest and release that snake. We're not sure what exactly would happen to the snake if he stayed in Apora. Probably he would wind up at an importer-exporter's place. And to be honest, for the little amount of money that Bob paid for this, Bob, how much? So like 50 cents?
$35.
$35. I was very off.
Way off. Way off.
So for the $35 that Bob paid for this snake now has a chance to live out its entire life here in this forest that we're in, that very, very few people come to. And so what we're going to do is we're going to release this snake, not up in the trees. We think that emerald tree boas live exclusively way high up in the canopy, but babies, they live about shin-high, knee-high level, and that's where they're hunting their primary food source of lizards and frogs. And so what we're going to do is we're going to release this guy at about ground level. And then he will have the choice. Does he want to climb up the vines, or does he want to stay down and try to secure a meal? Yeah. All right, Bob Bledsoe from Green Room Pythons, who has used his own money, the last money that he has.
My last $35, you guys.
To buy the snake and release it.
Here we go. We're going down to the ground. I think he's going to want to climb.
Let's find out what he does.
I'm just going to set him here, and then we can let him go.
He's not sure what to do yet. He's figuring it out.
So this is a scary thing for him because he didn't want to be held by us, but also all of a sudden now he's placed on the ground. He's in a new spot and he's got to figure it out. He's got to be like, wait a second, can I just go now?
You know, when you release a snake, when you get it from one place and release it to another place, when snakes are born, as in the case of this emerald, or when they hatch, they are instantly following scent superhighways all over their habitat. And they're following those scent highways to food sources, to shelter, to all different places. That's why when a snake sticks out its tongue, what it's doing is it's actually following these invisible scent highways all over the forest. So he's gonna pick up one of those scent trails, hopefully find a meal out here, find shelter out here, and hopefully, with any luck, this guy is going to be just fine out here. Now, he is back in the wild. There are a lot of predators out here that would love to have him for lunch, but that's part of being in the wild. He's now on his own. So we were just sitting here talking after we released that emerald tree boa, and we turned around and looked to see how he was doing, and he wasn't on the ground anymore. Then we looked up and look at this. He chose to go straight up. So again, baby emeralds out here, they will choose to either go straight up into the canopy or hang out down on the ground. My guess is that tonight, after nightfall, he's going to come back down and go hunting for frogs and lizards and little mice that are found down here. But during the daytime, it might be a little too scary for him down here on the surface. So he is going straight up that tree to the safety of the canopy during the daytime here. And that is the most interesting behavior Bob Bledsoe has ever seen.
I don't know, Dave, you've done some pretty weird stuff.
So because it is a drought, the temperature and humidity readings that I'll take in just a second here, they're not going to be accurate. The humidity is going to be much lower because of the drought, and the temperatures are going to be a little bit on the hotter side because of the drought. But what it is going to give is it's going to give kind of a day in the life, of a snapshot of what the temperature and the humidity is in the forest here in the emerald tree boa's range. So I'm just going to leave this right here on this rock, let it cook for a second, and we're going to find out what the relative humidity and the temperature is here in the emerald tree boa's range right after this. Morph Market is the #1 online marketplace for all your reptiles and amphibians. You can search through over 60 categories to find your perfect new pet, whether it's the latest boa constrictor morph or your 150th crested gecko. It's all right here at one place, Morph Market. All right, so we've let that cook for a while. Look at that, 56% relative humidity, which is extremely low for the Amazon rainforest. But the temperature is 33.3 degrees Celsius, which is a whopping 92.6 degrees Fahrenheit. It is very hot and supposed to be very humid here. So again, that's just a snapshot of a day in the life, but if you are wondering the proper humidity and temperature readings to keep your northern emerald tree boas, what I would do is I would set your thermostats to weather.com. And the nearest village to us here that shows up on an app like weather.com is Apora, Suriname. So if you set your thermostats and your humidity to what it is naturally out here in Apora, you're going to be on your way to keeping your northern emerald tree boas at the proper humidity and the proper temperatures. Hey, Bob?
Yeah.
What you got there?
I've got a emerald tree boa, a beautiful one that we're about to release in an area that hopefully hunters and trappers won't find them.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Look at that vine system.
I love it,
and
Amy.
It's got like 5 different kinds of vegetation.
Let's do it.
So at this point you might be thinking, well, why didn't you guys just leave the emerald tree boa right where we found it last night instead of bringing it here during the day? There's a reason for it.
The reason is because these snakes are worth about $30 US for any hunter or trapper that happens to be out here looking for pigs or paca or whatever they are they're hunting. They'll grab these snakes off the trees if they can see them from the river, put them in a bag, and then the animals will stay in that bag under the bow of the boat for however long the hunters are out here, which is usually about 10 days. And then once they get the snakes back to their village, then they sell the snake to a middleman, and then the middleman then sells the animal to the exporter, and then the exporter gets the snake to whatever country it might be going to. So it goes through quite an ordeal before it gets to your expo or your house. And so we take these animals that are visible off the side of the river and relocate them. And even though relocation may be difficult on the animal, it does not compare to the difficulty that this animal will go through sitting on the river if a trapper puts it in a bag.
And so what we're doing is we're going many kilometers into the interior where the hunters do not go. They stay to the river. So the chances of a hunter actually finding the snake after we release it there is pretty slim.
That's right. And we also look for trees that have different fruits on them that we know which fruits attract the rats, so that we know these animals have a good food source.
Yeah, there are fruit trees around here, like we call them plum. I don't know the real English name. And there is also padu. It's like a bean thing, and the rats, they eat that. They go after that. And there are some other fruits too, like maripa and awara. Another one we call locust.
So plenty of fruit-bearing trees that
yes,
rats will
that
be
would
attracted to.
Yes, attract rats.
And that's why we selected this place to let this beautiful snake go. So guys, I hope this video shed some light on not only a misunderstood snake out here in the Amazon basin, but also the captive care of this snake is still misunderstood. And guys, real quick, I just want to thank each one of my Patreon supporters. It's with your support and help that I can come out here to the wilds of the world and better help educate people not only on the natural history of these amazing animals, but again, how to better care for them in our homes. So thank you. There are lots more videos coming up from here in Suriname. Guys, as always, thanks for watching, and until the next reptile adventure, love the planet, feed your reptile obsession, and rattle on.